Hello and welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking all things Halloween, and in fact for the next couple of weeks we are going to be talking all things Halloween. So let's get right to it. So yeah, as I say, we are going to be talking about all things Halloween going forward on this channel for the early parts of the week. Your Mondays and your Wednesdays will be your Halloween reviews. This is what this is. I'm going to be reviewing every single one of the Halloween films in the franchise. A franchise that I absolutely love, and some of the films in there, while are questionable, still have parts that I really enjoy. Part maybe 1 or 2. Part 1, let's just say. No, there is 2. But anyway, that is what we are doing going forward. Fridays will still be your Funko videos, or Saturdays. But of course we didn't have one this weekend. I just didn't have one ready to go for you. There is one coming up on Friday that I'm going to be recording in the middle of the week. So you will be getting one this week. But yeah, today, so why am I doing this? I'm doing this because we've got Halloween Ends, which is supposedly going to end the whole franchise. Or at least end the Michael Myers side of the franchise. I don't believe that. Every time we know within the horror community that every time they say this, it doesn't happen. And that is why I believe that this is not the end of the Michael Myers saga. It's the end of this particular story, but I don't think it's the end of Michael Myers. I think we'll see him again, whether it be in reboot form, remake form, or TV series, or a mini movie that's on TV. Technically that is a TV miniseries, but anyway, we will see him again. It's just going to be an eventuality rather than sooner rather than later. But we're going to see it again. It always happens. But anyway, I'm going to be going through every single Halloween film, reviewing each and every one of them for the next coming weeks in the lead up to the premiere of Halloween Ends. So, without further ado, let's get to the original Halloween. The one that started it all. The one that you could argue started the sort of slasher craze. Of course, Psycho is technically the one that started the craze. But Halloween sort of picked up that mantle and ran with it. You know? It's the reason why a lot of people love this slasher sort of side genre that we get within the horror genre. So yeah, the original Halloween film for me is one of the best horror films that there is out there, without a doubt. You know, I've seen people that have only watched it recently and said how bored they were while watching it. That gets to me every time. I love the original Halloween. I'd argue it's still the best one within the actual franchise, simply because of what it was able to do at the time and what it's able to do now as well. Still gets people talking today, and it's been what? We've hit past the 20 years, of course, with H2O proving that. It's 40 years in 2018. So, you know, we're at the 44 year mark, coming up to what is supposedly going to be the end of the franchise. It won't be, of course we know it won't be. But for me, personally, Michael Myers has been such a big part of a lot of people's, you know, lives going forward. For the last 44 years, this horror icon has taken things within the slasher realm, pushed them out to a point of which that we're all a little bit annoyed. There are certain films within this franchise that obviously we'll get to them eventually, but they're not going to be easy to talk about. Those ones will probably be the easier ones to talk about, in the sense of that there's going to be a lot of things to point out more because it's all bad, or mostly bad. Whereas, like, I feel like a really good film can be hard to talk about when you're trying to talk about the best parts. Simply because it comes across as being like very much a stable thing, of there being a very good thing going. And that's the same thing with this Halloween film. You get a lot of things going for it. For starters, Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode is honestly one of the best final girls that there is out there. Still arguably the best final girl. You got The Shape, which, again, Michael Myers, The Shape, has become one of the most iconic horror idols there is. There's no doubt about that. You know, in today's pop culture, Michael Myers gets pointed out a hell of a lot more than you'd probably find Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers are on par to a certain extent, but I still think Michael Myers has that sort of limelight more than Freddy. And I think it's down to the fact that Michael Myers has had a lot more films, therefore his face has got out there a lot more, which is kind of ironic considering there is no face to it. It's just a mask. But, you know, the start of where like The Shape started and how when he was a kid he killed his sister, which got him into the asylum, and then we get like so many years forward where Michael Myers is what, 21 in the original Halloween. Almost called it Michael Myers in the original Halloween, and then he goes on the killing spree, and I think it is possibly down to the fact that it's just that he's got home, things aren't the way they used to be, and he goes off and off the rails. You know, to be stuck in a mental asylum for what is about 15 years, of course you're going to lose your mind. I think I also remember seeing that he was 19 at the time, so I'll put down here exactly how old he was in that original movie. But when you look at it, it's just that that's what is the basis of Michael Myers, is just the fact that he tried to go home after being in a mental institution for nearly 15 years, and he's gone home and things are different. You know, there's none of his family's all gone now. Like, it's just so much that there's a lot more to Michael Myers than I think people see in the original film, and yet we don't know a lot about him. That's the funny thing, you know. We don't know realistically where his head goes. One of the later films tries to explain it. We've all ignored that. We've all forgotten about it. I'll talk about that in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, Dr. Samuel Loomis, who's going after Michael and trying to settle him down and that, it's just his character and Donald Pleasance playing his character is another iconic character within this universe. Well, you say universe, but it's more of a series of films, but we'll go with universe as a lack of a better term, or franchise. But for me, Dr. Samuel Loomis is the one continuous thing in this series of films. Yes, of course, when you look at it, Michael Myers is also there, and of course Michael Myers does go on for longer than Samuel Loomis. But for me, without Samuel Loomis, there is no Halloween film. You take away Dr. Samuel Loomis and you lose a lot of what this film has going for it. To have a sort of doctor that sort of feels responsible for Michael being free, even though it wasn't his fault, is something that I think is done really well. You don't see it a lot in films nowadays where somebody will actually take the blame or somebody will feel guilty about it. It's simply, there's some, you know, in a lot of horror films nowadays where you get the same sort of idea of a slasher, you know, there's nobody to blame except for the person doing the murders, you know, except for the person that's killing. In this film franchise, they push the idea that Samuel Loomis is part of the problem, and I think that's something that, yes, later on films do try to do a little bit more on, and try to sort of show that. However, just not as much as in this film. I think there's a lot of other stuff to obviously talk about, like the suspense and the tension within this first Halloween film is honestly some of the best that we've seen in the Halloween franchise. Like, the music itself really does heighten the sense of an actual problem. Something which, you know, music is such a big part of the art community. when it comes to movies and TV shows. You don't have any good music in your movie or TV shows, and the feelings that you're trying to convey on screen do not come across as highly as it would with the music. I think the music definitely makes a big difference that we don't see all that often with horror films nowadays. You know, you don't have an iconic theme tune anymore with horror films, and that is a shame because, like I say, Halloween really pushed that forward, and now it's sort of died down. You know, you tell me that any recent horror films have had a theme tune that's stuck in your head for days. Michael Myers has that, and that's why I absolutely love the Halloween films. But this one for me is still the best of the bunch. Like I said, I'm doing this one quickly because I realised I did not have as much time as I thought I did. Because I thought the film was coming out late October. So when I realised that it's actually coming out mid-October, I realised that I've lost 2 weeks of actual chance of doing these videos. So this one's a little bit rushed. Not a lot of information there. Just know that I absolutely love it. And I am going to be rating these as I go along. This for me is a 10 out of 10. It's perfect. So yeah, that'll do it for today's video, for this one in particular. There is going to be Monday's Halloween review, Wednesday's Halloween review, Friday's Funko Pop videos. That is Friday or Saturday, depending on how things go with recording, editing, and trying to get the video out. However, I will be doing certain things content-wise in between. So, your Tuesdays, your Mondays and your Wednesdays, you'll always get those Halloween videos, but you'll also get something extra every now and then on one of those days. Of course, we've had D23 this weekend, so that's the big thing. I've got a video coming out eventually on D23. It's just finding the time to record it. But anyway, I've been Scrivo. This has been Scrivosphere. And I thank you all for watching. Goodbye.